Again, people are saying that he cheated because during first strike, he didn't have a player cam. All of the other players had like a webcam where they can show their reactions, you know, pandemic, online, Valorant, blah, blah, blah. And because he didn't have a camera, everyone has hopped to the conclusion of Heretics have a 6-man roster. He doesn't have a camera. He doesn't go on video. He doesn't do interviews. And he's nuts. You know, he's able to sort of be G2, be Team Liquid. Therefore, he must be cheating. Therefore, he's not retiring. He's just using it as a cop-out so he can dodge the Iceland LAN. So he doesn't then have to show up and be like, shit, I don't have my cheats and now I'm a dog shit player.
So, cracking on. Cloud9, or at least Vice, announced that he is parting ways with C9 Blue. So many thoughts about this, but the first one definitely has to be, remember how when Shinobi left the team and we thought that wouldn't really be enough to cause a course correction for this team? Well, here we are. There's another departure now from this C9 roster who has just failed to reach any of the heights that were frankly expected by everybody who read their roster on paper.
Yeah, and it's actually, I even wanted to take a step further than that too. It's like, we talked about it in the past when Zeta joined this team. It's like, okay, what's going to be the viability of a six-man roster? I've tweeted that as well because we'll talk about it later, but ANS joining T1 is another 6-man roster where maybe one player is going to fall off, and then even Heretics had a 6-man roster, and now maybe one person's going to leave. So what is the viability right now to having a 6-man roster? Well, we kind of have the answer right now too. Poise is now going to be playing. Mitch, I think, is in-game leading for Cloud9, and I think they're still trying to find their footing. And do we think it's enough right now for C9? I think time will tell. Right now, on paper, maybe not.
Well, I think it's down to their goals, right? So realistically, like, especially for you two, where would you, like, what's the minimum this roster should be aiming for? Because there's a lot of good teams right now.
It's Cloud9. It has to be the fucking top. I mean,
yeah,
like,
but I mean, if you look at the group of players, not the org's like prestige behind the org, but this specific group of players.
I would like to see them at least be a top 8 team. Yeah, especially with the amount of changes that they're making. They should be in Masters. Full stop. Like, you know, I would expect them to be stronger than XZ at least. I think at this time, nothing against that team. XZ is a great roster, but Cloud9 with the sheer amount of resources they brought 2 players over. They brought a player and they brought a coach over from Korea. Yeah, you know what I mean. They're shopping tens. And they must have and we know that buyout is fucking gigantic, which is not a huge surprise. Hopefully they're not jacking it up as a result of what happened there, because obviously you just never Jack. I know you spent 20 million on a slot and then basically turned your team into one that no one cared about in the Overwatch League, mate. But this is not how you recoup that investment. Sorry, fam. So we'll see. I thought Vice looked at his best when he was playing off of 10s, actually. I think that he facilitated 10s really effectively. I think his breach was one of his best agents, and I really enjoyed the way that he was able to be a supporting factor in that team. I think that the structure of that roster has changed a lot now, especially with Leaf coming in as well, and Poise and Zeta and all that kind of stuff. It looks very, very different. But I feel them. If I was Vice, I'd also want to be on a top 10 roster as well. So it's another big name that enters the free agent pool once more.
It's crazy. It's crazy to see that right now too. And yeah, I think Vice looked pretty good as Breach, as Silva as well. But I think, let's face it, like, any player would look good if they had to like propulse 10s to like help win a match, right? 10s in any type of roster, probably even playing in, like, I don't know, a tier 3 team could even look a lot better because just 10s is in that roster. Nothing against Vice for sure. I think that he's going to be able to find a very good team too. Hopefully he's going to be able to do something with Shinobi as well. But to get back to that point, I even think like Poise coming in right now, Zeta, is it still going to be enough? I feel that Poise is going to be like the plug and play of what 10s used to do, but they're still trying to figure out their agent pool for the rest of the team.
They have an entire challenges run to start thinking about at the very least here. So expectations remain high. Maybe they're even getting higher for this C9 team. 100%. They need an identity. They need to forge an identity. And honestly, trimming some of the fat, excuse me for using that term, probably isn't a bad way to go about it to really sharpen their edge. So we'll see how they go. Here's one that I know a little bit about. T1 announced the acquisition of Overwatch League star Ants. Ants Sniper is his full name. This guy was scouted from the Korean solo queue ladder. I think the Shock found him while he was streaming and just he was donging on his opponents. He was the doink machine of Overwatch.
What does that mean?
This guy,
What does that mean?
Yeah, I mean,
is that a verb?
No.
What does to dong mean?
It is. It is now. This guy, impish personality, tats on the neck. There you go, Nate Shot. Didn't need 100k retweets for that one. But mechanically extremely gifted individual. Obviously, the Shock didn't really need him. I hate to say it. They have like 4 DPS players, and Overwatch is a whole different kettle of fish. I mean, I need a different podcast to talk about that. But he is a champion in the Overwatch League with the San Francisco Shock, and was a big part of them actually achieving said championship. So this guy is nasty. It's a big addition to this team. Obviously, alongside Sireplayer, you have 2 ex-Overwatch League Widowmaker mains. Obviously, don't know how many of I don't know if they're going to be playing the operator, but this is a big addition, but the team is still very much in flux.
I want to thank the community in Valorant and everybody in Overwatch too. When I tweeted out, it's like, guys, tell me about Ants right now. Who's ANS in this roster? What is he like? Is he going to be as hyped as he is Spider when he made the switch over to Valorant from Overwatch? And everybody was telling me, keep an eye open for this guy.
He's better.
He's fucking
better
amazing. He's at the top. Yeah, so everybody's saying he's better. So I'm looking forward to watching him play. The only thing I hope that doesn't happen is that they plug him straight into like an Omen or like a Sentinel, where it's very rare where I see a star player coming into a new roster and going straight into a duelist. It's very, very rare does that happen, and I hope to see that if he is as good as people say that he is, then maybe he's going to go into a role right away where he could put a lot of impact, in my opinion, as that duelist, as that entry fragger.
That's so interesting, because here in Europe, especially over Masters, I'd say almost all of the most impactful players and almost all of the sort of your scoreboard traditionally high fraggers have been Sentinels. I think they've definitely been the ones that have stolen the show over the last couple weeks, and I think that's kind of the change over in Europe right now. Like Chihuahua, Safe, Logan, like all these players, Demasic on FPX, they're all unreal Cypher Killjoy players, and we're sort of not, I guess, like NA, right? You guys love your duelists, and us less so. Less so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, also helps that you have Logan, who just seems to be like 3 seconds ahead of everybody else when he goes up against them. Yeah, I think there's this, it's such an NA esports thing though, really. I mean, I came up in Europe in Overwatch, so I saw the distinct differences in the scene, and NA has definitely always been, there's always been like a star player element. There's always been like not an ego, but definitely a spotlight chasing sort of aspect to it. You can see a lot of players that come in and want to play those kind of roles. That's the kind of play that they want to be. I think Europe, obviously, there's a lot more structure to some teams, not all. There just seems to be a tacit agreement or an understanding that playing together and playing off one another seems to be a little bit more valuable. So that's how we get the forging of very distinct styles. Maybe a team that bucked that trend was G2, but they also just got rolled as a result. In fact, there was a team that decided to shrug off their structure. I mean, Defuse just says, okay, I remember that bind map against G2, to knock G2 out. And then it's like, okay, fuck it. Takaz is just like satcheling forward every round into Hookah and just destroying Zeke, I think, every single time. And, like that, I think that playstyle leaves you quite fallible. So we'll see. I think Answers always struck me as a flashy player, though. I don't know how many more flashy players you want on T1. Like I don't know what the purpose is. I also wonder like what the connection there is, obviously, with NRG. So here's the complex part, right? NRG's management own the San Francisco Shock. So that's all of that gang. It's like your Hector, your all those guys. So they, obviously dealing with T1. T1, obviously, their ownership is a Philadelphia Fusion, right? So these teams have sort of dealt with each other at length in the past. It's just a bit of a mix-up, because obviously so many of these teams had to be established for the purposes of the Overwatch League. So I don't know, if there was any sort of dealings there, but I do know that the Philly Fusion would have loved an Ansan Sniper on their team as well during the Overwatch League. So I'm not really sure what they're going to do. Yeah, so Andy is the guy who runs the NRG stuff. So I don't really know what they're hoping out of Ants, really. I haven't even seen him play much Valorant. I just know that he's like this individual, very mechanically skilled player, and that's all he had to be in Overwatch. That's literally all he had to be.
Looking forward to it, man. I'm still pretty stoked. Hopefully he's going to be playing with T1 right away during the VCTs too, because as we mentioned on the broadcast last week, and that's coming up in 2 weeks. So if he hasn't played enough, hopefully he's already made the move as well. I mean, if he's played in Overwatch League, he's already in NA already. So hopefully he's in the house with T1 practicing already. And what's going to happen with the 6-man roster, and how is it going to work under DaZe's helm? And how much control is DaZe going to have as well, or how much freedom is he going to have to be able to call for with these players too? So there's a lot of unanswered questions that I have in my mind that I'm looking forward to watching in 2 weeks. Even if it's going to be like a tier 16 that they're going to play in round 1, hopefully that's going to be streamed. If it's going to be an SG working with observer streams, because there's going to be a lot of eyes on T1 in my opinion.
Now, speaking of NRG, Shanks has just been announced to having had departed that particular roster. Doesn't have a lot to say about it. I know that Shanks was bitterly disappointed about his team's failure to sort of make it into Masters, and said that he was gonna double down on. I don't get this. He said, I'm gonna fuck streaming. I'm gonna double down on competing with my team, and now he's said I'm gonna go back to streaming 8 hours a day. So clearly, since Android joined NRG, things just haven't quite been the same for him. Not really sure, but I'm trying to ascertain Shanks's, I don't know, his priorities based on like the departure from the team and how that was conceived. But I don't know, Vans. I don't have a lot of information on this one. It just seems like he wanted to double down on competing with his team after Masters didn't go their way.
Yeah, I think if you're just looking at the results or the performances of Shanks, I would like to think that it was fairly similar to Dicey. I don't think it was necessarily about the performances that he wasn't able to, or they weren't able to put on the board consistently at the top every single time, but it didn't look like their regular play style from what we know Dicey and what we know Shanks for, right? So I think for two Jet players that are trying to shine or be aggressive as like a Baby Bay or a TENS that doesn't work out in a team that looks for more structure as 100 Thieves and NRG, it does make sense that he says it's not a right fit. So if he's going to go back to streaming, more power to him, because his streams are fucking entertaining and is a awesome guy. But, the tweet says it there itself. He's open for more opportunities. So I think he's just going to try to keep his eye open, kind of like TENS.
Can he stream?
Streaky player.
Is he banned? Am I going mad? Am I mixing him up with someone?
He was only banned on Twitch.
Banned?
He's unbanned now from Twitch. Yeah, so
was that because he co-streamed something he shouldn't have been co-streaming? Is that what happened?
Not too sure what was the reasoning behind it. I just knew that he had a ban and everybody was like free Shanks for quite a long time. So I'm glad that he's going to be able to do that again.
Oh, it could have been. Yeah, who knows? I mean, was he streaky? Like, can we be honest about Shanks as an individual? Because it seemed like he was at times incredible, and then other times he was extremely poor in game.
No, I would agree. I think it's looking back at any other type of like Jet operators or Jet players. I think we would have the same argument, for example, win from Gen G, and look where Gen G was able to go forward, right? And again, when the best example is Shanks joining very last minute into Immortals and helped them qualify into the top 8 of First Strike. So there is moments where he just shines and thrives, but again with NRG, for example, maybe it just didn't fit even his playstyle, right, under Daps's helm. So there's more to it in terms of pieces than just the player individually, in my opinion, when you're looking at this game. So hopefully he's going to be able to find that team that fits him and allows him to play the way that he wants to play.
Right. Well, nieSoW, your mate, David P, has been installed at the head of a veritable colossus, a fucking Voltron of esports on this XL roster. And he started to tease a couple, of the nationalities of players here. Cool story, David. I mean, what do we have to add to this?
I mean, this is just pure speculation, right, at this point. I think one interesting thing is that he's supposed to be the IGL on this new team. They've specifically built this team around him. So he was the captain, the player they brought in, and he's been on this project for a while now, for a couple months, I'd say, over, between being benched from G2 and getting picked up. It's also interesting to me that XR are choosing now to get involved. It's a really difficult time to come in, and especially if you're coming in and building a roster around one specific player. I'm not always like the biggest fan of building rosters around just one person. I mean, it does work sometimes it doesn't, but I think this is kind of highly anticipated just because in EU, we're still at a time where we don't have that many orgs. Really, it's gotten a lot better, obviously, over the last couple months. But Defuse are now orgless as well, so they're looking for a home. All these top teams. I think Ascend are technically not an org. I could be lying, but they also had org
No,
issues.
I doubt it.
Well, no, it's because they used to be called Raise Your Edge, and Raise Your
Mm-hmm.
Edge is a poker company, and obviously that kind of didn't work with Riot's rulings. They didn't want to
Sure.
have a team. It's like having I don't know, like Betway FC on stream. You're basically promoting them,
or like a Team
Yeah.
U porn, like there actually used to be in Dota.
Yeah, exactly. So they're now Ascend, a team that no one knows how to spell. But I do think it's exciting for XL. I'm really excited. I've sort of I'm just excited for any org really to get involved. There have been rumors here and there who this team is going to be. Of course, I look into nationalities there. There's loads of good French players, right? I think it was one of the French flags. I mean, it's either a French flag or here we go. Yeah, that's France, right? Don't make me feel because I am not good. I'm not good.
It's Belgium, France, Sweden, UK, France, yeah?
Yeah, so we have a lot of good French players in the scene right now.
Italy?
Of course.
Don't
start. So I think you can maybe hazard a guess here and there who could be involved in it, but of course, not a team, without its controversies from the rumors we've seen.
Sure.
But I do feel like we have to wait. Echoes is an interesting one because I have someone in chat said Echoes. Because I heard 3 different rumors about Echoes over the last week, and they're all completely different teams. I don't know if he would be going to XL. It would make sense, right? He's the only sort of UK. He's one of the biggest names in terms of free agents, and he's from the UK
as well.
Yeah. But David P is IGLing from what I've known, and I do believe he used to be IGL back in CS:GO.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, Eccles 3 different rumors and 20 different mouse sensitivities in one different week. So hopefully he really lands on one of those.
I hope so too.
Okay, good on you, XL. I mean, show me the. Dude, we'll just see who's on your team.
Hopefully it works out though.
Some orgs have picked up teams, and we'll get onto it. But OG is okay, guys, looking great over there. Definitely not a connection from the LA Valley and from when you French guys knew each other way back, and now you're just fucking jobs for the boys. You guys are not performing like a team like OG should. Oh, you mean AKM's on OG, sponsored by Red Bull? Wasn't he a Red Bull athlete? Yeah,
he was. Yeah, he was indeed.
So weird. Anyway, we'll see. But let's talk about another European roster that tried to debate us like fucking crazy with the addition of their latest player. Everyone was like, we were like, oh, it's NBK. Look at this. Look at the silhouette of them.
Yeah, man.
This was their roster, right?
Original roster.
Initially. Yeah, this is the roster they put together. Obviously, Banks over there is making that happen. Kragon
is gone.
No longer with the team.
Kragon is gone.
Kragon.
Yeah.
I'm here all day.
I mean, I stole that off you. Yeah, sorry, Uber, carry on.
No, I mean, so they obviously this team was the first to qualify for Masters in Europe, and then didn't exactly reach the highest of heights. They ended up losing to their sparring partner guild, I think, to get knocked out in the end. But they also lost to. Did they get ruined by Defuse?
I mean, everyone got ruined by Defuse at one point or another. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they lost to Defuse, and then they played against Gil and got knocked out, I think, in Masters. So anyway, that team obviously not finding the success they're looking for. There's a lot of rumors around Kragon as an individual, maybe just not quite gelling with this particular roster. So they announced a French player by the name of XMS.
Yes, CS player.
Well, yeah, he's. I think in terms of Kragon, first of all, when he first was announced, I actually did a show. So me and my other half both, so we have a small-ish kind of chat show. We just talk random stuff about EU Valorant, and we had a guest on, Noisy. I don't know if you guys know Noisy, but you should definitely check him out. He's a streamer, a creator in the scene. Great guy, nice guy. And he plays a lot of Valorant. Noisy plays Valorant I think 12 hours a day every day since the beta. This guy plays the game. And he's played with everybody because he's, a very, very highly ranked player. And he flat out said, this team needs to get rid of Kragon. like just on the record, you guys can probably find the VOD. And I said, whoa, why do you feel so strongly about this Noisy? Because he's such a nice guy. And I've never heard him speak like this. And he said, well, this guy is toxic to the next level. Like, I have never played with anyone as toxic as this player ever
Right.
in my entirety of playing Valorant. And he was like, look, I'm telling you, this guy's not going to be around for that long. And of course, props to Banks and Mitch. You got to defend your own players, and they believed in that project. They believed that they can maybe turn this guy around or bring some value because he is a very good player. He's kind of nuts. As he proved that he helped Alliance qualify for Masters, right? When people didn't expect them to qualify. And again, we don't know the ins and outs of it, but judging by his tweets, which has since been deleted after he was benched, he did not take it well. He was very salty about it. I believe he tweeted right after Alliance lost at Masters. He put a tweet out with their like VLR results and being like, these guys are clowns for kicking me, kind of like sentiment. I don't know. I do feel like it probably Banks and Mitch wouldn't have made that decision if it weren't genuinely they felt like was a decision that needed to be made. And just the track record of this player and the fact that even after he got kicked, he still is toxic. Because you feel like, if that is the reason, hypothetically, if that is the reason that someone got benched, that's a lesson, right? You're sitting there thinking like, my behavior has costed me my career. Maybe I should change, or like maybe I should reflect on why I was benched. But no, he just tweeted some more shit, and I think it kind of
Love it.
It kind of
Double
was a
down,
testament.
baby.
Yeah,
Love it.
it was a testament to kind of person he is. But moving on to XMS, some people
Sure.
thought it was MBK, some people thought it was Kenny S. I thought that anyone thought it was MBK or Kenny S were idiots. I actually thought it was going to be Kiyoshima because Kiyo has been playing loads of Valorant, but XMS.
I love Kyo. So I remember XMS. I was actually casting Counter-Strike at the time because when Envy got rolled by G2 and G2 built the super team, right? They got like Kenny S, Apex, NBK, NKJ, or went over to coach that team as well. Envy were like, okay, well, we want to be a French team, and they ended up, I think it was XMS, RPK. They brought him back onto the team. A bloke by the name of Devo Dudek, I think, and they got Malik to coach this roster.
Durek?
Yeah,
Devil Duvek. Yeah, Devil Duvek.
And then they added Scream.
Yeah.
So this was like this was the fall of the Roman Empire in terms of Envy's Counter-Strike reputation. So I remember XMS on this team. He was okay. I just don't remember them being particularly great. And I think that he went on and joined Team LDLC for a bit. And his Counter-Strike career, he was, I guess, kind of cursed by having some fucking gigantic shoes to fill. I'm talking like clogs the size of the Titanic. This guy's got to get his little pinky into, you know what I mean? So I think that he, had a tough time there. So let's see what he does in Valorant. I mean, the guy's got quite a pedigree as a tactical shooter player. I knew I remember the name from somewhere. So we'll see what he can provide us here. But we've got more roster changes in Europe because we see okay, it's been an interesting morning. We see an indication that nieSoW may be retiring. This is close sources that has caused this to be reported on. I think this article's in Spanish, so there is an English version below though, and you can get an idea of what's going on here. But Yinsu, I'm sure you got some thoughts about this.
I've never been so emotionally invested in something that's got nothing to do with me in such a short amount of time, because obviously the context, and I do want to be careful here because I do know certain things that I can't disclose, and also I don't know a lot of things that I think everyone else is also thinking about as well. But the context is Niso, to my knowledge, has been banned from Battalion. He was banned back in the days for Battalion. People have also speculated that he cheated in CSGO and Apex, although he was never banned, to my knowledge, and he was never reprimanded for any of those things. He was just kind of known as that player that was a little bit sus. Like, that's the best, most eloquent way I can put it. And he comes to Valorant, and of course, he's unreal. This guy is insane. Put him on Arena, put him on a Raze. This guy, I think Mystic from Fnatic once tweeted, benching Niso is like benching Messi on your team. And that's kind of sums it up, really, because he was just so impactful, great player, just the fragger, But of course, Heretics had this 6-man roster, and that kind of perpetuated some suspicions. that he's cheating because people are like, if you've got Messi on your team, why the hell are you benching him? Why the hell have you brought in Rubino, a sixth man? But as we've seen through challenges and through masters, Niso is still playing. So there was a day where Lau was injured and Niso stepped in for that series. Niso also plays on Split and on Icebox. Actually, on Icebox, Pora subs out, which is a whole other thing. But this isn't a six-man roster. This is not like an Astralis six-man roster. This is a legitimate six-man roster that has some kind of strategic backing to it. Anyway, because Niso started to play less, people are like, well, Heretics are just trying to cover their asses because this guy is obviously cheating and they don't want to just sort of like kick him because then everyone's going to be really, really suspicious as to why this has happened. Bearing in mind, I'm 100% sure at this point, 99.9% sure that Riot had cleared Niso. Like, if players, really, really high profile pro players, are constantly complaining to Riot about someone cheating, and Riot, being the developer that we know and love, are not going to just be like, nah, we're going to ignore you, like, we're just going to chill over here. And of course, the Gamer Doc, who's a great person when it comes to the anti-cheat stuff, is on it as well. And I'm pretty sure that he might have also looked into this. I don't want to put any words in his mouth, but I would be very surprised that the number one player that every single person in EU is accusing of cheating, it's astounding to me that Riot wouldn't have cleared him before Masters. First strike, they won first strike. You'd think that if it was that serious and people accused him of cheating when they won, Riot would have looked into it. But again, to my knowledge, they did look into it and they did clear him. He isn't cheating unless he's just some kind of like wizard and he's sort of getting by all these anti-cheat systems.
I doubt it.
Yeah, I doubt it as well. But anyway, so today it has come out that he is supposedly, over the next few days or weeks, is going to announce his retirement because of family issues. And what I can say on that is that I have also been aware of certain external things that Niso has been experiencing. Again, I don't feel comfortable disclosing it, but I've been aware of it for a while now, like more than, you know, a few months now. Like, I've been aware of this. Obviously, like, I do a lot of interviews, and there's been times I would have loved to interview Niso, but because of other factors, that's never been able to sort of happen. And there are very legitimate, you know, reasons as to why he isn't maybe necessarily comfortable to be on camera and so on. Again, people are saying that he cheated because during first strike, he didn't have a player cam. All of the other players had like a webcam where they can show their reactions, you know, pandemic, online, Valorant, blah, blah, blah. And because he didn't have a camera, everyone has hopped to the conclusion of Heretics have a six-man roster. He doesn't have a camera. He doesn't go on video. He doesn't do interviews. And he's nuts. You know, he's able to sort of be G2, be Team Liquid. Therefore, he must be cheating. Therefore, he's not retiring. He's just using it as a cop-out so he can dodge the Iceland LAN. So he doesn't then have to show up and be like, shit, I don't have my cheats and now I'm a dog shit player. And my issue is no one has any proof. There is no concrete proof that this guy is cheating. He's been playing Valorant since the beta. There's been plenty of opportunities for people to catch him out. Riot could have at least investigated him this entire time, you know, suspend him, like put him on hold or something while they look into it. But he has never been banned. He has never been, like, there's never been any suspicious activity or wrongdoings from Riot's side or from any tournament organizer, to my knowledge and to anyone else's knowledge. But people are very happy to meme on him, to clown him, to come out and be like, yeah, this guy is just using this family issues, which doesn't exist, as a crutch so he can kind of silently back out of the scene, which I think is disgusting. Because even if he is cheating, let's say he is cheating and he's actually, you know, my level, he's like a silver 1 noob and he's cheating to get on Heretics, to con everybody out of a salary, to like fuck over G2 to win first strike. Even if that is the case and he is experiencing like severe family issues in real life, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter if he is cheating. Like, well, the biggest thing is that there's no proof. But even if he has cheated, I don't understand how people can genuinely try and clown on him when he's going through something really, really difficult in real life. It's just blowing my mind that big personalities, big, you know, journalists and people with influence and have a platform are completely okay to perpetuate other people, their fans, into sending Niso hate, into bullying him, into basically spreading lies and making up stories when nobody has proof. Like, honestly, if someone comes to me and goes, shut the fuck up, you're defending someone who actually cheated. Here is a VOD of him cheating. Here's the program that he used to cheat. Here are the war hacks, whatever. Yeah, maybe I'll be quiet a little bit, but I'm still waiting. Like, all those people that's saying all these things about him, give me the evidence. Like, just show me. Then I will calm down about this. Sorry, I am really worked up. I just realized. But, you know,
You're
as
allowed to.
someone who it's just as someone who everyone was shitting on me because I made a mistake at first strike. I had people tell me to go kill myself. I had people like, I had professional players ask Riot to fire me because something I said at first strike. And now people think it's okay to try and ruin NieSoW's career when they're all fucking crying and upset about me trying to ruin their friend's career. But now they're all okay to go and be like, oh, NieSoW doesn't matter. NieSoW's a piece of shit. NieSoW's cheating. If you say anything remotely bad about my friend, I'm going to try and get Riot to fire you. But I can sit here and basically make shit up and not take any responsibility for it.
Brilliant. Yeah. I mean, my fucking God. Also, you didn't make a mistake your first strike, just to set the record straight, Yinsu.
Can you unhook your mic and then just drop it now? Because that was actually a very good rant.
I'm sorry.
No, it was
sorry,
great. It needed to come out,
Yeah.
and I think this is something that's great. And even like echo the sentiment that if, let's say, everything is all cleared and NieSoW is all good, and then there's gonna be a LAN, he's always gonna have that above him too. Like the day that he doesn't perform well, everybody's still gonna shit on him. So even if like he's innocent or whatnot, and this happens, he's still gonna have like a bad rep, which is very, very unfortunate.
But it's not even about the
Well, there you have
cheating
it.
thing right now. He's got like genuine, real life things that's bigger than video games. Like, I'm sorry, I'm saying that because like not many things are bigger than video games or more important than gaming. But if the guy is genuinely like, again, hypothetically, let's say he had a family member pass away, or if you had multiple family members pass away, how are we okay sitting here being like, that guy's a fucking clown? Like, how dare he have real life problems? How dare he have an excuse to not play Valorant? He doesn't owe you shit. If he doesn't want to play Valorant, he doesn't want to play Valorant. If he can't do something for you, he can't do it. Like, just, it's none of your business.
Yeah.
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 And obviously, combine that with the fact that Rubino, you know, it was just getting fucking flamed by people as well. Like that guy, the guy's a history in Counter-Strike as well on Team Dignitas, and he's probably no stranger to it. Obviously, the guy's lost his mother, by the way, and there are people like messaging him saying that like they hope his fucking mother dies of cancer or something like that. Like, Jesus Christ, Europe.
You guys are the fucking worst.
Sort your shit out. So we'll see. You know, for a confirmation in the coming days about what nieSoW's future is, and the grandstanding is quite ridiculous in Europe. But it's nice to have a chance to address that.